Today, we're diving into a bizarre and spine-tingling mystery that haunted a small town for nearly 2 decades. That's right, folks, we're talking about the notorious Circleville Letters. So, grab your popcorn, hit that subscribe button, and let's unravel this thrilling tale together. Circleville, Ohio, a quaint little town with a population of just over 13,000 people. Nestled in the heart of the Midwest, it seems like the perfect setting for a peaceful life. But between 1976 and 1994, this charming town was rocked by an anonymous letter writer whose messages turned the community upside down. Imagine receiving a letter that not only accuses you of wrongdoing but also threatens your very way of life. The residents of Circleville experienced just that when the first letter arrived in the summer of 1976. It was a warning, an ominous message about a local school board member, Mary Gillis. The letter claimed that Mary was having an affair with the local school superintendent. You know, nothing says small-town drama like a scandalous affair. But Mary denied all allegations, and she wasn't the only one on the receiving end of these mysterious letters. Over the next 18 years, dozens of letters were sent to various residents, each one more shocking than the last. They contained personal information, accusations, and sometimes even threats. As the letters continued to circulate, the residents grew increasingly anxious and paranoid. Who was behind this? And why were they targeting the people of Circleville? To understand the investigation, we need to rewind to the early days of the letters. The local authorities were baffled. They had no idea who was orchestrating this campaign of terror. The letters were typewritten, and the postmarks were from nearby towns, making it nearly impossible to trace the sender. As the investigation unfolded, police received tips from residents claiming they knew the letter writer's identity. Some suspected Mary Gillis herself, while others pointed fingers at her husband. But despite numerous leads, the police hit dead ends time and time again. Things took a darker turn in 1983 when the case escalated into a physical confrontation. One of the letter recipients, a man named Ron, was found dead in his car, leading to speculation about the connection between the letters and the murder. Was the letter writer involved? Or was this just a tragic coincidence? The investigation into Ron's death led the police to believe that it was a homicide. However, the letter writer remained elusive. And the link between the letters and the murder was never confirmed. But this did not deter the writer. In fact, they seemed to thrive on the chaos. Fast forward to 1993, when the letters took an even more menacing turn. They began to target the local sheriff, Dwight Radcliffe. Yes, you heard that right. Even the law wasn't safe from this mysterious menace. The letters accused him of corruption and mismanagement, and just like that, the whole town was engulfed in paranoia. Sheriff Radcliffe decided enough was enough. He launched a full-scale investigation, involving the FBI and even consulting a handwriting expert. They pored over evidence, analyzed the wording, and tried to decipher the mind of this twisted individual. But still, they found nothing concrete. However, the story takes an unexpected twist in 1994. Sheriff Radcliffe received an anonymous tip that led him to a suspect, a local man named Paul Freshour. Freshour had a history with the police, but the real kicker. He was the estranged husband of a woman who had been named in one of the letters. This revelation sparked a new wave of investigation. Freshour was arrested and charged with the letters, but he maintained his innocence throughout the trial. The prosecution argued that the letters were a desperate attempt to control the narrative in the community, while Freshour claimed that he was being framed. The jury ultimately found Freshour guilty, and he was sentenced to 5 years in prison. But here's the kicker: even after his conviction, the letters didn't stop. In fact, they continued to plague Circleville, proving that the real letter writer was still out there, lurking in the shadows. After serving time, Freshour was released in 1998, but the mystery of the Circleville letters remained unsolved. The town had been through so much turmoil, and yet, the identity of the letter writer was still a mystery. Was Freshour really guilty? Or was he just a scapegoat for a much larger conspiracy? As we fast forward to the present day, the Circleville letters continue to captivate true crime enthusiasts and amateur sleuths alike. The case has inspired books, documentaries, and countless discussions online. People remain fascinated by the idea that someone could wreak such havoc without ever being caught, so, what can we learn from this bizarre saga? Well, for starters, think twice before opening an anonymous letter. And maybe, just maybe, don't air your dirty laundry in a small town. Because in Circleville, secrets didn't stay secret for long. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Circleville letters, make sure to give us a thumbs up. Subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We'll be back next week with another thrilling story that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Until then, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction.